Hi! Today I'll be testing an XVive P58 guitar wireless system. To begin with, I was contacted by XVive to make a review of this product, and to make things clear, I got it for free. However, I try to make my reviews as honest as possible, so if I'll notice any issues with this product, I'll tell you about it, and if it's a good product, I will also tell you about it. So, what exactly is this system? Basically, it's a wireless system. Instead of using cables, you're basically plugging this, a transmitter, into your guitar input. And then you're plugging a receiver into your pedal board, into your guitar effects, your amplifier or guitar interface. Okay, so now let's open a box and see what's inside. Okay, here's a box of P58 guitar wireless system. There are all kinds of details: 5.8 GHz True Diversity wireless system, 24-bit 48 kHz audio, up to 5 hours of transmitter battery life, but I will test it later. Okay, so let's see what's inside. So, as you can notice, we've got a transmitter, we've got XVive receiver plus / tuner, and we've also got a box of things. What's inside the box of things? Okay, here's a manual, okay, register papers, that kind of stuff, declaration of conformity, and there's also some kind of leaflet with advertisements. For now, I'm not going to use this, so let's see what things do we have inside the box of things. We've got USB-C cable, and probably a power supply. Exactly. So, here's a power supply, exactly 12-volt power supply with U plug, and that's pretty much it. So first we'll test a tuner, and then we'll test a transmitter in some kind of real-life scenarios. Here's the transmitter. It feels fairly well made. It's plastic, but it doesn't feel like it will break in no time, so feels good. There's like an on-off switch, channel mode, and USB-C for charging. However, this one feels really well made. It's really robust, it's made of some kind of metal. I wouldn't really be afraid to put it on my pedal board. The switch also feels pretty nice, you know. Overall, the build quality is really good, and basically it feels quite good. So, we've got output for charging. I guess it's for charging this one. Fast charging. And we've also got DC in 4-watt power supply. There's also an option of true bypass or buffer, which is pretty useful because everything depends on a pedal board, but sometimes you need a buffer. Okay, so let's hook it up to see if it's working. Overall, it's a very responsive tuner. It feels really good. It doesn't really feel like we added it only to, to add a tuner. So if you've got a tuner, you can basically swap it for this and you're good to go. Okay, and I will cover other options once I'll be in a studio. We'll hook it up and see what we can do with a transmitter. See you soon. Okay, receiver is hooked up into the audio interface. Both transmitter and receiver are set to channel 1. And here is what sounds like straight into the Thomann application. Okay, I am very used to playing in that place and plugged straight into the audio interface, and to be honest, it sounds exactly the same. I don't really notice any major difference, and the latency also seems really good. When I'm even playing really fast, I don't notice any kind of like hiccups or that kind of stuff. So the latency gets yes from me. Okay, now we'll compare P58 with a cable. Okay, to sum up, will I use it? Yes, I will take a risk and try to play live with this. The main problem on stage is an interference, and good thing about it is the fact that it operates on 5 GHz and there are 6 bands to choose from. So I guess it won't be a huge problem. However, I'll probably do a follow-up test once I play a few gigs and I'll let you know what I think about it. Apart from that, the battery life seems pretty good. So far I had to charge the transmitter only once after around 5 hours, so exactly like stated in the manual. In a studio I didn't really notice any dropouts. However, if you for example want to play at home and you've got 2 floors, because for example at my home I've got pretty thick walls and once I went downstairs I was losing quite a lot of signal. However, the thing that I will probably use it for is profiling amplifiers, because usually when I'm renting bigger spaces, for example bigger studios, there's an issue, but I'm doing everything on my own. So basically if I'm in a studio like a monitoring room, I have to plug a cable into the amp and then I have to go to the live room, move a microphone to the cabinet a little bit, go back, unplug, you know, there's like a lot of unplugging and plugging cables if I actually want to move microphones on my own. And of course you may think, okay, just use in-ear monitors in the live room. But it doesn't really work this way because you're getting a lot of air from the cabinet. So in my case, I prefer to hear the tones in isolation without that ambient sound. For me, it might do the trick because I can basically plug it into the amp, walk into the live room, play a little bit, go back, and play a little bit. So I think it will be very useful for that. And there's also one thing that I may use it, because basically there's like a station for setting up guitar, because I do a lot of setup work. And you know, once I'm done with, you know, fret leveling and that kind of stuff, I have to go here and go back and here and go back, you know. Especially when working with electronics, it's really annoying and I really hate to use those small amplifiers. So either I would need a super long cable which will basically, you know, run through all of this stuff, amplifiers and that kind of stuff, which is annoying, or I can basically plug a receiver into the audio interface, transmitter to any guitar, and see if everything is working. So for me, it's actually a win. As I said, latency is okay, battery life is okay. Dropouts in open space do not really happen until you are around 20-25 meters away from the receiver. So the only thing that I hope for is it will survive the gigs and I won't make an idiot out of myself. Thanks a lot for watching and thanks to XVive for sending me this product, and I'll see you in the next video soon. Bye!